Here we go. Yay.
It's the brain again.
Another day. Another night.
I'm so young.
Another afternoon.
I'm so young. Standing on my 10 toes.
Right
I stay
here.
strong, yeah, so I still move on. No matter what
Wefobz the
goes on.
podcast.
Started from a fireplace, moving on because I started from a fireplace.
That's what it is. We
All about
started
the
from a
money
fireplace.
Don't got
Now
time
we
for
trying to
any
make it.
hate. No, I'm trying to go some different things. Because I started from a fireplace. I'm all about the money.
Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen. You are keeping it posted right here on the Wefobz podcast with your hosts, Guy So Smooth and Chief Lot. And boy, do we have a very awesome podcast for you today, as we have a new special guest here with us today, or should I say tonight, or afternoon, or wherever you are out there listening. But you know, we got to keep with the outline, keep with the ritual, the nice ritual we got going. This is episode number 5. Okay, everyone, keeping with the outline. Chief, could you fill us in on the Wefobz Mission statement before we start things off, and before you introduce our special guest for today?
Got started, man. You always catch me on this one. I forgot to put my notes up, man. Let's go to our disclaimer real quick. Let me find it real quick.
All right. I have to say it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that burns, bro.
All right. Disclaimer, ladies and gents. Everything we say here is for entertainment and educational purposes only on the Wefobz podcast. To each person, their own opinions, statements, and views. Please don't hold it against us. You can fact check us on anything that you find here. But once again, that disclaimer, it's for entertainment and educational purposes only. We're not advisors of any other sort. With that being said, did you find it, Chief?
I did, man. I'm ready, man.
Hit us with that Wefobz Mission.
What's up, everybody? Wefobz Mission. Wefobz Mission, man. We're here to promote and encourage the changing of negative mindsets, stigmas, situations, and encounters into positive outcomes.
Change the negative into a positive. That's all it is. Without further ado, Chief, please. We can't keep them waiting no longer, and we can't keep our special guest waiting no longer. Please intro our special guest for this podcast.
It is a great pleasure and honor to introduce our first guest speaker invited into the Wefobz platform today, because this is the first of many that will come.
Technically first? Was it technically first?
Yeah.
Didn't we have Gray before? Well, technically first, because Gray was a host. So technically our first.
Yeah. And like I said, in history of the Wefobz podcast, this will be the trivia. And the name, and we're gonna remember this one. So without further ado, I want to introduce a great person that I've seen on social media. And kind of reached out to him because I wanted to have his insight. He's got some really good, amazing perspectives that I can relate to, and I believe that the podcast could be very open-minded to see it on his side, and we can just discuss it. So without further ado, man, I want to introduce Mr. Evangelist, one half of the Doormen podcast official, here live with your boys, Wefobz podcast.
Well, thank you so much, man. Man, first off, that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to be putting on me. I mean, I love the energy. I love, you know what, the animation here, right? It's it kind of I'm having a hard time like getting used to it, but I'm soaking it in. It's a beautiful concept. I like where you guys are headed with it. But yeah, it's definitely an eye opener. It's something to look forward to, right? Because in this the future that is the metaverse, this is what we're going to be seeing. A lot of avatars, and so what an awesome what an awesome introduction for me to see, right? So thank you guys for having me. I thank you for the opportunity to be here. Yeah, I'm ready for you to pick my brain, and I'm ready to pick yours. So,
Ooh, is that a challenge? Is that a
no challenges here, guys.
Evangelist,
Guys,
Evangelist. Challenge
let's
accepted, my brother.
keep this as
No,
lighthearted
bring
as
it,
possible,
bro.
guys.
Bring it.
No, we're good. Thank you so much, Evangelist. Thank you, Chief. Well, everyone, you've heard this is our special guest for today. He's got actually a lot to unload for us. And it once again, it's a very interesting topic. We're keeping on the series of our content creators series for the podcast. And Evangelist is a content creator himself. He's one half of, like Chief has said, and like he has said, of the Doormen Podcast Official, which you want to check out their YouTube channel. We're going to put the link up on the screen if you want to see it. It's also a link in the description. But I must say less and hand the mic right over to our boy Evangelist to speak more on what he'd like to put out on the platform. So Evangelist, take it away.
Sure. Well, so I was asked by you guys what it is that we are about. And I always, in every opportunity I have, I always want to highlight what propelled me, what compelled me to get online. And it really had to do with what I was seeing, right? So first off, just to give you guys a little idea of where I come from. So born and raised in the city of Carson, California, huge Samoan community out here.
Carson.
Yes, sir. And then, so, there's like a mix. There's a mix of the cultural influences that we have, right? So, of course, like most Samoans, like most Polynesians, organized religion, Christianity for myself, huge. Mom was a conservative Bible thumper, meaning, she drug us into the church week in and week out. And then I had this, there's a side to the family. So specifically here in Carson, Long Beach, Southern California, we have this like influence of the street.
Yeah.
Especially in the 90s, 80s, 90s. We have that kind of street influence, right? So I was super infatuated with that side, right? Like with that street aspect. And then so I go from this early childhood of Christianity, conservative, thoughts, while being exposed to, the street side of my own family. So, dad is one of 12. All of his siblings had a lot of kids. I'm only one of 4. So, aunties and uncles, they had more, they were more like, there's an aunt with 7, another aunt with 7, another aunt with 9.
Huge family.
So we always had first cousins in the area, in Carson. So there were, we had numbers, especially males that I was raised around. So we always look to our older cousins. They're kind of like, superheroes even.
Role models,
huge influences, right? But a lot of their influence had to do with that street culture, with the gangbang. So I had the mom, mom who's conservative, instilling the conservative values, mixed with that street influence, with almost infatuation on my part, because I was looking at them like, wow, this is the life. Look at the respect these guys are getting. Look at the notoriety these guys are getting. I was able to walk the streets and fear nothing, right? Because, family had kind of already set the pace, set what was to come. So, this battling influence shaped me and my thoughts, right? And then so seeing that, I don't know, it's a few of the Samoans that I spoke to, or that I hear from, or that I see, they kind of dislike the title of tribal, but we are a tribal people, right? Because we have a lot of lines to draw. So,
Mhm.
being a Samoan, we have a last name to represent, right? You have a village to represent, right? And, speaking about, the origins, right? Because
Yeah.
my mom is, raised in Pango, but our alo represents Pangasa. My dad is a Fancongo boy. Our alo's right there in Fancongo. I mean, our Makai is right there in Fancongo. So there's there's lines to be drawn. We're constantly like saying, okay, this is our side. This is how we do it, right? That's a Samoan thing, and that's a tribal mentality. We're not looking to like automatically group up, right?
Mhm.
So because we have that tribalism about us, and we have this, here in America, we're exposed to sports and the competitiveness of sports, and we understand the culture of having winners and losers, right? We understand the idea of, okay, in this competition or in this instance, you guys win, or we've lost, or we win and you guys have lost. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to the drawing board, re-strategize, and come back and compete, right? So with all of this, we understood that in no way can we be victims to our society, right? It's either we rise up and we better ourselves to better prepare for different situations, or we give up and we lose, right? So I started to see this culture of the victims culture, right, arise back in like pretty early on, kind of like even prior to the Trump era. I started to see this. Well, first off, let me give you another little piece to my to the Evangelist. I spent 22 years working for the LA Unified School District, and then so in that, initially, there was a culture there where you accept students in, or we have these students and we want them to meet a specific standard. So we have this curriculum set, and we hope that they do everything in their power to master the curriculum. And then we surround them in the best conditions possible for them to do that, right? We present them the curriculum as clearly as possible. We have demands, we have expectations, and then hopefully they can reach it, right? That whole culture began to change, right? 2014, 15 on, we started to coddle the idea that, oh my God, we've got to take into consideration what type of homes these people come from. Maybe they can't excel in this because whatever. And I thought, this is the wrong mentality. Like, I thought, this is a coddling mentality. So anyway, fast forward to us creating this podcast and the message we wanted to bring out.
Yeah.
Stephen approached me and said, "Hey, you know what? Let's, we wanted to take this little duo show on the road. What do you want to talk about?" And I said, "Well, I want to talk about like not being victims. I want to talk about not bowing to this sheep mentality and just following what this guy says because he feels like he's got
the victimized
the
mentality,
bad end of the stick or whatever. Yeah, he's the victim, or he's been oppressed. He's been, he's not allowed to be him, or whatever the case is, right?"
Evangelist, can
So
I pause you there? Just in case everybody, he said Stephen, that is the other half of the Doormen podcast. So whenever he talks about Stephen, just know that he is the other half. He is the partner to the Evangelist on the Doormen podcast official. Continue, my brother. Sorry about that.
No, he's gonna appreciate you taking the time out to do that, because I don't mention his name enough. Anyway, so Steve says, "Hey man, let's take this show on the road. What do you want to talk about?" I said, "Well, let's talk about this craziness that's going on now, right? Because it was like the beginning of that COVID era, and there was just a lot of nonsense, being spewed on the media, like mainstream media mostly, and then social media kind of, it trickled into social media, but there was just a lot of a lot of like sheep mentality, victim talk going on. So I thought, man, let's jump on the other end of it, right? Let's jump on the other end and let's talk about how, you know, let's not focus on being victims. How about let's just focus on how stupid that sounds, and then let's point it in a different direction. Let's go towards a winner's mentality, right? Let's take our focus off of being the victims, and let's move toward this rising above it, right? So we decided, our first couple of episodes were, well, the majority, the first 20 episodes were all audio, no video yet. We didn't dip into that yet, but it was just a bunch of ranting, right? So we just ran about what's going on, and back then, I think everybody was anti-Trump. They were claiming how Trump was this bad man, and he was a racist. And I thought, man, that's crazy, because all the rappers, they used to rap about him. You know what I mean? I included. I was back in '99, 2000. I was this aspiring rapper, and I threw in Trump in a couple of freestyles. You know what I mean? So I thought, man, that's crazy. Like, he's now this racist. He's gone from being kind of a figurehead in the rap community to now he's this white supremacist, fascist. And I thought, that is crazy. So let's talk about how stupid that sounds. And then we started to see the reaction to the COVID situation, right? And mind you, we didn't take it light, right? We didn't take the whole, the destruction that COVID was causing. We didn't take it lightly, but we did see that, there was a huge wave of government officials who had started off blowing the whole thing off, right? But then they said, hey, you know what? Let's just let's just pump out the fear into the world about it, and that's what we started to see, and that's what we wanted to comment on that. So we started to just rant about all this craziness that was going on, and then we were hoping that we were kind of directing people towards rising above it. Hey, this is stupid talk. We're better than that type of mentality, kind of approach to the whole thing. So I don't, I feel like I've said a lot of nothing, just to say that we're just ranting about the stupidity around us in this world. And that's pretty much what the Doormen have been about.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Definitely. I know my boy Chief's got something to say. Chief, I see you there.
Go ahead, Chief. Say
something.
Lay it on me, bro.
Say it, bro. What is it?
I mean, there's so much to unpack in this story.
Yeah. What's the very first thing? Tell me, Chief. What's the very first thing that comes to mind in unpacking all that I've dumped on you guys right now? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
You look cool as hell, man. I love your shiny bald head. Like,
hey, look,
you're just attractive.
I can't possibly
everything you talk about, I'm digging
it. Hey, I told you how much of a pimp you were our first conversation, man.
Oh, come on.
I told you how much of a pimp you were, bro. I'm ready to put on my stilettos, man. It's a wrap.
What am I listening to here? What are you two talking about? Go back to the unpacking, bro. Go back to
let's unpack this, Chief.
I mean, for me, here's where I love it. There's so many great points, seeing it from your perspective and how you address these things. Because I can see myself doing the same thing too as well too. There's many times I just want to rant some shit out, and it seems like nobody's hearing me out. It's like, I was raised old school, so every time I say something that I think it's common sense that everybody should capture it, that was not the case. You mentioned Donald Trump, right? Like, I was raised in the 90s where Donald Trump was like the icon, cool white guy that was up there doing his thing. I didn't understand what that meant. But then when he was in office, then just a whole flood of all kinds of other things that just put his identification in a different space.
Put
And
it
I
under
just couldn't-
scrutiny.
Crazy. It was
I didn't
wild.
get it,
right?
right? So I love everything that you guys do with the few that I've already watched. I'm trying to get to all of them. And I just
Appreciate
wanted to bring you on board and be like, bro, man, speak to us, man. Want to see where that coconut of yours too, like our coconut, stands and shed some light, man, because the story, I love it, man. I love how it was unfolded. Like I could relate to it, right? Because would it be fair to say that you're an American? You're like
Absolutely, right? I mean, we grew up with a lot of the traditional Samoan values and the language spoken in the home. But at the end of the day, I've never been a Samoan, and it's not something to be proud of. But I am an American, so I hold a lot of the American values, dear to heart.
And I get that a lot, right? Fortunate I was able to be blessed to, well, I went to Samoa too when I was little. I was raised out there.
That's
And
a
when I came back, there was one biggest lesson I learned. It didn't make sense before, I guess because I was young, and you grow up and you start seeing things for what it is and you come back to America. My biggest lesson that I learned was I'm pretty happy that my color of my skin was brown and I come from a place called Samoa.
Oh, elaborate, bro. Elaborate, because that's just, you're unpacking. This is deep. I mean, you, Evangelist, and you, Chief, you guys are taking it really deep. So let's unpack again. Elaborate on that. What do you mean you were proud? Fill us in, because I want to get at the Evangelist on another thing too. Let's go.
When I came back to the United States, man, and actually absorbed myself within the culture, sad to say, but not sad to say, because I'm a proud American, I completely understand and see where Evangelist is coming from, because today I'm completely an American person, Samoan. I'm truly an American Samoan. And I see it and I understand it. Unfortunately, others don't see it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important, right? I think it's absolutely important to bask in what allows us to call ourselves Samoan, right? And again, I'm unfortunate that I haven't gone back to the island just yet. It's still in the works for me to go back, but the things that made me Samoan were the values that were instilled by my parents, right? The culture, we definitely have a love culture. Our love for our family and our love for the traditions, right? It's a passion that not a lot of people can tout, not a lot of people can brag about, right? We have a passion about our culture that is pretty intense, right? I don't know a lot of other cultures who are so passionate about their way. Fa Samoa. When I heard The Rock comment on what Fa Samoa. I mean, it translates into the Samoan way, right? Our way. So when we label things with Fa Samoa, and we have this passion about the presentation of it, the how it's accepted, how it's the pride behind it all. It's unexplainable. I'm over here trying to give it words, and it really has to be something felt. And then when you hear, when you're in a room, like I remember being in church, because we went to a Samoan church up until I was 5, but I still have those memories, you know what I mean? And then even after the different falavilaves that were attended, the music, the singing, right? And then the passion behind each person singing and what it conveys and what you feel, right? There's a pride, right? just pride wells up in you about this is our people. And because because I'm a part of this group, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go and excel in whatever the hell I'm going to do, and then I'm going to come back to these people, to this space, and then I want to give as much to it as I can, right? And so, like, let me give you a story. So football is huge, right? It was anyway in Carson High School. And then so going into the football program, 10th and 11th grade, we were told these stories about Samoans before us that came in the 70s and 80s that were just these brutes and that didn't understand, right? Because they weren't brutes because they spent like a lifetime in the weight room. These guys were natural, strong kids. And then when they were actually expected to apply that strength in the weight room, they excelled like crazy. So there was a story told to us about a kid fresh from Samoa, straight from Samoa, who came in and coaches recruited him. And they said, hey, you know what? Have you ever lifted weights before? Guy had never lifted weights. Sat under 225 and just started throwing it up, right? And they were saying, hey, they had to say, hey, get some proper technique behind you, and then do this. But to kick it off at bench pressing 225 with no problem, right? And then they said, okay, let's see what you can do. Let's see what you can do. What kind of progress you can make this year, right? So he's a 15-year-old kid, 10th grade. So by the end of the year, they said, okay, you're pretty strong. I think by the end of the year, you'll be able to throw 4 plates up, which is 405 pounds, right? And then, so this kid really liked Snicker bars, right? He was a Samoan kid, fresh from Samoa, right? And they bribed him with Snickers, right? They weighed Snickers in his face, right?
Bribed them with Snickers?
With Snicker bars, right?
What the hell?
So they said, if you can hit 400 pounds or 4 plates by the end of your 10th grade year, you get some Snicker bars. Before I think they said before May, this kid was bench pressing 405 pounds, 5 reps, right? Like, and because he loves Snicker bars so much. So he'd come over there and ask for Snicker bars, or he'd have a Snicker bar in hand. And by the end of the year, they were like, you know what? You're so strong. We're just gonna, for the rest of your high school days, we're gonna just supply you with whatever you love Snicker bars. They hooked them up with a box, and then it went from there. But we were told these stories about our Samoan people and just the brute strength that we had, and that inspired me, right, in my weight. It inspired me, so in the 10th and 11th grade, I began to excel in my, weight room ventures. So, man, you talk about having that pride in being a part of a culture, a part of a people. Man, here in Southern California, specifically in Carson, that was a thing, and I hope it still is for our young people, because football programs are still up and going. I mean, you see a lot of great talent coming out of our community, spreading out into all of the nation, right? Look at the quarterback for Clemson, Wingalele, awesome kid. You've got all these up and coming. Look at Tua, my man, Tua Bailoa. My man is that's, it's crazy. It's crazy the influence our people have had, specifically in that space in the National Football League, in football in general, right? It definitely like contributes to that pride, I believe, right? And then look at our rugby boys, man, that tore Samoa. Jesus Christ. Like, so it just lets you know how built for this physical push, this physical struggle that our people are prepared for, right? And I don't know where to trace it back to. I don't know, where in history that pivotal moment began. Like, you guys are going to be the best of the best as far as your physical prowess. You know, I don't know where it came from, but I'm so happy. I'm so proud to be a Samoan in that way, right? And then look at my Uncle Rock. Oh, sorry. That guy right there is
He's my cousin.
That's my cousin.
My cousin. Sorry. My guy is, hey, right, 50 plus years old. I think he's 50 something. And he looks like just an action figure. I mean, he literally is an action figure, right? Black Adam. I went to go see my uncle in the Black Adam. I was so.
Oh, don't spoil, bro.
proud.
I'm gonna go see it soon, man. I'm gonna see it soon.
Proud, right? Hey, he sold his soul, but man, I'm proud.
Oh my gosh, you guys,
Hey.
man, so much said right there, ladies and gents, man. But as we go on, you all know that our special guest evangelist putting it down right there with Chief Locke. But guys, let me cut this up with a little commercial break, if you all don't mind.
Hey, pay them bills, bro.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this episode of the Wefobz podcast is brought to you by the Wefobz Nation store. Specifically, you want to go over there and check out our giveaway. We're giving away a free Wefobz backpack. You can buy it in the Wefobz store if you don't want to enter the giveaway, but we have a free Wefobz backpack we're giving away. It's pretty awesome, high quality, high end. It's made in the USA. Definitely want to check that out. But you know what? We also got some other promos we want to put down right here. Evangelist, tell us about something that's going on your end of the world.
You know, the Doormen podcast, we have Doormen t-shirts with that logo. So
Doormen!
You can find us on IG at the Doormen merch, the Doormen hustle at IG. You know, I'm slanging mac and cheese for Thanksgiving. So for those of you in the Carson area,
You deliver?
bacon. We've got this candied bacon, beer cheese mac. That I mean,
Candy, bacon, beer, cheese,
Oh my
mac.
gosh.
Oh
yeah. So I mean, you know,
goodness.
we stay selling things. We stay on the hustle.
Hit up the Evangelist at the Doormen Podcast Official. We're going to put that link right down there if you want to hit them up for all of that. The merch, the mac and cheese, the candy, bacon.
Hey, it's for Thanksgiving only, guys.
For Thanksgiving only.
Thanksgiving special. Let's go.
Woo!
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
It's a beautiful, man, dude, I got mac and cheese on my brain now.
Man, I'm telling you, this mac and cheese recipe, it's about a 13, 14 year recipe in the making, right? So it's taking this long to refine that process. Yeah.
Oh, I want to ask a question. Baked turkey or fried?
Funny you say, funny you ask. We got so my sister's boyfriend, his dad deep fries turkey, and that's the main deal. So lately we've been having deep fried turkey, and it's pretty good.
And what's your pick?
Right.
Which one is yours? What do you prefer?
You know what? I've had them both. I've had them both style, and you can do them right both ways, and you can do them wrong both ways.
Ooh.
So I can't one or the other.
As long as it's juicy.
As long as it's juicy, right? As long as it's juicy.
Man, if the comparison is so close, man, then what's the big fuss? There's nothing special about it that make me want to check. I've never eaten deep fried turkey.
You've never eaten? Well, I mean, it's
the crunchiness
skin.
of the
Okay,
skin,
that's the difference.
bro.
The skin is the difference. You can a little crisp, a little crisp texture on that skin. So it's really a texture. But if it's done correctly on the deep fried end and it's juicy on the inside,
oh yeah,
you're gonna love it.
Nothing more to say right there. Man, fellas, this is such a beautiful moment right here. And I'm all for beautiful moments. I'm actually getting really hungry too.
Yeah, this whole thing made me hungry.
Hey, isn't that something, man?
Yeah,
I think the fat boy within is just it's a real thing, right? Like You,
That's
Oh,
me
it
right
is.
there.
It is.
our love for food is just
Woo!
unheard
Especially very good tasting food. Hey, Evangelist, want to ask you real quick. Do
Yeah,
you
your turn,
see
bro.
content creation as a hobby? Are you in it as a hobby, or are you in it as a profession?
I don't want to, I don't want to lie in any way. I always want to be truthful. I would love to say that it's a profession, but in reality, for me, it's a hobby because, I've always valued the idea of being absolutely organic. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I still want to like go out and meet people face to face, and maybe the old school in me it sees content creation as robbing that experience. It could be a flaw in my perception of things, but right now it's until it maybe until it actually pays bills. You know what I mean? Maybe that'll change when it pays bills, right? But right now, the footwork of going out and working is, that's where my professionalism comes in. So yeah, it's still a hobby.
I like the way he put that, Chief. Until it starts paying bills, then that's when we call it a profession.
Yeah.
Yeah, go check out Financial Freedom's episode. We talked a lot about that, so
Okay.
you'll know where I stand.
Episode 3.
Started off
you can
professional.
reiterate now, Chief. It's all,
I started off professional, and then for those reasons too, you know what I mean? Like, I ran out of money to continue on the hobby. It wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
Then went back to the workforce, got back again, and then finally, like things start piecing together because like we discussed on the previous podcast, there's levels to this to reach the point that we want to, and this is where Wefobz come in. I think this is like, right now it's a profession for me. So
hey, I think I shared with you guys before how ignorant I am when it comes to this. I'm so computer illiterate and technologically illiterate. I think maybe it'll change. Maybe my mind will change once I become more familiar.
Well, that's why you're hooked up with Wefobz, my brother.
yeah, we got you, bro.
We got you on that one, man. You won't have to call
Sure.
yourself illiterate or anything anymore.
It started that way. That was because my hobby phase was exactly that. There were some things that I needed to learn, and then it forced me. Then I went to Hollywood and got a degree.
Wow,
Hollywood.
It's like, right?
that's what's up.
So
Yeah.
the passion, the drive, everything was there. It was just a matter of putting all the pieces together, and especially like also paying the bills. That was a big one.
That's huge.
Which allows me to finally like, okay, God's timing is the best timing anyways. I'm good with it.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Man, we're coming up on the on that minute where we want to give out the food for thought. But Chief, I think you said you would love our special guest to give us a food for thought, right?
Bro, like, man, that food for thought is so important. There's so many things going on. Just something to think about. I got a good one, but I think Evangelist got a better one.
That's a lot of pressure. Chief, man, you have been pressuring me from the beginning, but
come on.
That pressure.
I have to rise to the occasion, man. I got to step up to the plate. So,
Let's go.
what I always want to share with everyone, right? And it's, not because I'm any type of a fitness aficionado or anything like that. But, we as human beings, first and foremost, we have to understand the importance of challenging ourselves physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, any of those aspects of being, right? We have to daily think of ways and set a time out for challenging ourselves, putting ourselves in difficult situations, right? So, like let's say an easy one for me is working out, right? Setting a time out for myself to control a difficult situation consistently every single day, because as we've seen, like with the COVID, right? These are difficult situations that are brought to us from an outside factor, right? So if we get ahead of the game, as you guys like to, say about how you guys are getting ahead of this metaverse game, but if we get ahead of this, putting ourselves, applying pressure and difficulty upon ourselves in a controlled way, if we do that consistently daily, or even learning, like even mentally reading, learning something new, as I'm talking to you, brothers, I'm looking forward to learning more about technology, period. Right. So if we need to daily, consistently put ourselves in these difficult situations so that when the time comes and we are presented with difficult situations from the outside, we are prepared. We're not panicking. We have no anxiety about facing these situations head on. So that's my food for thought. Let's be prepared for the chaos of the world.
Yeah.
Hey, go stay tuned, man. Go check them out at Doormen and find out what the rest of that's all about. Because, boy, we have a full new 5 episodes from that one.
There you have it. There you
Appreciate
have
you
it.
guys, man.
Evangelists, thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you.
Thank you for answering the call, man. We look forward to a lot more podcasts with you as you grow and develop your content. And when you start to evolve from that hobby into a profession, we want to know, because we want to follow that guideline, bro.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you for everything that you guys offer, express, and do on your end, man. Appreciate you guys.
Beautiful, beautiful. On a closing note, all I gotta say is I love everybody out there. I love all of you brothers right here online with me. It was definitely a bomb ass podcast. You haven't heard that word in a while, huh?
You just gave away your age. It's all
hey, Chief, any closing words?
Yeah, man. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Evangelist, for coming in on.
Appreciate you.
Spreading the insights, man. I'll be over there, Doorman, checking you out, bro. You know I will.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. And shout out to my boy Steven too, man. The other half.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking forward to building.
Steven's gonna love the hell out of you guys.
And to everybody, like, follow, subscribe, comment. There's a lot of good stuff, insights that Evangelist brought to the table, man. Feel free to
Appreciate you.
and we'll bring him back. I promise. He already said he'll come back. So.
Appreciate you, thank you so much, man.
Hey, love you guys. Everybody, as you're tuning in. Thanks again to Evangelists, and God bless y'all.
God bless everyone. Wefobz.
Wefobz.
Wefobz.